Hi everyone, it's Shell from Scrap Secrets and welcome back to my channel. Today's day 9 in the 2025 Countdown to Christmas series with Marie from Marie's Vermont Creations. Our technique for today is mixed media, and I'm going to be using this stamp and die set from Waffle Flower called Merry Bookmas. A couple different colors of Distress ink. I changed it up from Distress Oxide, and I wanted this to be a little bit more vintagey. For some reason, I always tend to do mixed media as vintagey. So I cut out the two dies from some cream colored cardstock. I probably should have actually done it from craft. I was thinking about that later on, but actually this turned out just fine. I do have that piece that I'm inking up right now. I have that center piece. We're going to ink that up with the green that I use. So this is aged mahogany, and I also used forest moss, which are colors that I don't typically use, but I like the deepness of the colors. I didn't want to do the traditional red and green, so I picked these. So we're going to go in and add a little bit of vintage photo to the bottom of it to give it a little bit of a distressed look. For some reason, I always feel like mixed media needs some type of distress. So I will tell you that this is the card that did not want to be made. There were so many times that it just was not coming together. Mixed media is not my thing. I may have even picked this as the theme or technique for today. I don't remember, but it was probably my toughest challenge. For the star, I used fossilized amber, just so you know. But this, like I said, this is the card that did not want to be made. It was such a challenge, and I do like the way that it eventually turned out, but I will tell you, I really, really struggled. This card probably took me 3 to 4 hours to finally complete because, like I said, nothing was looking right. So I'm going to go back in with the forest moss and add it to the book and then add it to those open parts of the stencil. So while you're watching me stencil this, I thought that I would tell you a little bit about the series. I will have a link to the intro video as well as Marie's channel down in the more information section. Marie and I picked 25 different themes, techniques, color schemes, etc. Put them in a randomizer and bring you videos every Monday and Friday around 2 o'clock Eastern Standard Time. So this is the third year that we've done it. Marie has several playlists on her channel, so you can go back and see the videos from previous years if you haven't already seen them or if you want to rewatch them to get more inspiration for your Christmas projects. It's not just cards. We have tags and packaging and journal pages and other things in there. So there are a lot of different ideas for this series. So I hope that you go over to her channel, check out some of the older videos, check out her current videos. I can't wait to see what she made. I have not seen it yet. We have been so crazy busy that it really has not been, we have not really shared with each other like we have in the past. I am very far behind. I'm doing mine the day of, the day before, and it's just with school and work. I just don't really have the time. So I can't wait to see what she makes. All right, so let's go back to the card. So I went ahead and finished the reds and the greens and that yellow. Now I'm going in with some vintage photo on the sides and darkening up those edges that were that cream color. And it went over a little bit too much of the color, especially with the bottom book. But it's okay. It all turned out fine. I'm using my Bearly Arts glue to attach the pieces that I colored in earlier with the aged mahogany. I took some scraps and then just put them in a line and inked them up with the aged mahogany. I wasn't sure if I was looking for the fallout pieces like I did with the book, but it just didn't work. I couldn't find one of the fleur-de-lis pieces, so I said, oh, forget it. I will just go in and attach a piece of paper behind it. So I'm kind of putting shims on the back of where the book has to go because the book just fits in there perfectly, so it wouldn't have had anything to attach to. So I go ahead and put pieces of paper, glue paper behind it, and then I am attaching the book. So I could not figure out for the life of me what I was going to do for the other parts of the mixed media because I had ink, but mixed media means you have to do multiple things. So I found this, I'm not even sure what it is. I got it in a kit from Hero Arts so long ago, but when I put it down onto the scrap piece of paper, I thought that it matched with the green almost perfectly. So I thought that I would go over the leaves because they weren't exactly the color green that I wanted. It was like a nail polish brush, and it went on really, really thick for the first branch. So I decided to pick out a paintbrush and then just use that by alternating dipping it into the pot and then also taking it from the paintbrush part or the nail brush part of it. So I'm just going to go over all of the leaves, and then I am actually going to go over the stems. And I was not thrilled about that very first leaf. I just, like I said, this is the card that did not want to get made. I was like, do I give up at this point? I actually started off with a background piece and I cut this part out, but that was all music notes, and I went around the edges with Vintage Photo. I also did that with this piece, by the way, and that was part of that video, so I did lose that footage, but I initially went too heavy-handed on it, and I just didn't like the way that it looked together. So I cut down another piece from this 12 by 12 pattern paper, and I decided that this is the one that I was going to go with. I went around the edges very lightly with some Vintage Photo Distress ink and didn't pull it in as far as I did on the other one. So after I decided that that was good enough, I wasn't sure. I was going back and forth. So now this part, there was no storage left on my phone. So I did miss the part where I put a snowflake stencil down on the background and I used this paste to put it on. You can see the snowflakes in the background. You can see the inspiration one on the left-hand side. That one came out really well. Some of them came out okay, some of them didn't. And then I decided that it needed a little bit of splatter, so I put some down on my glass mat, and then I added a little bit of water. This is not like paint, this is paste. I don't know why I thought that it would work the same way, but it doesn't. It kind of puts globs down on the paper, but ironically, it landed on a couple of the berries and it looked so good. So I just left it, and then I'm taking this little paste and then going over the poinsettia leaves just to give it a little bit of sparkle and shine. A lot of this is going to be covered by the book, but I just felt like I needed to do it and use the paste in a different way. Again, I wanted to try different media. I initially thought that I was going to go in and just do the veins of the leaves. I don't know. Like, again, I said, this is the one that the card that did not want to get made. Okay, so then I'm going over the star because I felt like when I went over it with the Vintage Photo, it really dulled the star. So I wanted to go back in with this gold and add it, and it does brighten it up a little bit. It makes it look a little, I don't know, I feel like it tied in the background a little bit. And then I don't know why I decided to do this. I don't know if I like this. I don't know if not, but it was done. I started it, so I had to kind of finish it. I went into the two books that have the page lines on them, and I just highlighted them with this same paste with the paintbrush. Again, it's not paint. I don't know why I kept thinking it was. It's a paste, not a paint. And this is really, really old. So there was a Michael's by Us that closed when the girls were still in their strollers. So they had to be like 2, and they are 11 now. So this paste was what I got when the store was closing. I remember going with my sister and picked up a couple things. I don't know why I can remember that, but not remember what I did yesterday. But anyway, I picked up this paste, and I don't think I've ever used it. So I put the background aside, waited for that to dry, and then we're going to add foam tape to this book Christmas tree. Oh, I don't really have any nails right now. I'm getting ready to put on my nails for Halloween, and I cut my nails down to basically nothing. So I was having a really difficult time getting the backing off of these. I was having a really hard time doing anything, taking the stencils off of the stamp wheel. Just because I'm so used to always having nails. So once that was done, I'm going to go ahead and place this onto the background. And then I thought, it needs something else. I wasn't really sure. I had these gems, and I just love them. I thought they looked a little vintagey, and I thought they went along nicely with this, but I couldn't figure out if I wanted 1, 2. I know that things look best in odd numbers, so I started putting the red gems on here. They are a darker red, so I felt like they went a little bit better with the background. I also had those white sequins, or they're like pearlized sequins, and they didn't go, so I moved them off to the side. I always have difficulty placing gems down onto the background. I placed that red one there, that last one that I did, because I wanted to kind of hide that snowflake. That part was probably the worst part. That was the leaf that was too dark. That was a snowflake that didn't come out correctly. So you can see I'm counting here, and I'm like, I feel like I need something else. I feel like I need one of the large ones. Put the sequence on. I really wasn't sure what I wanted to do. That back one, the one that I just put down, does not have glue on it, so I am going to have to go in with my Bearly Arts glue to glue that, in addition to the larger one that I just glued down. So this card just gave me such a hard time, and I'm not really sure I like the way that it came out, but I also feel like I could have done some things a little bit differently. I really wasn't sure. Then this is a piece of background cardstock. So this is a 6x6 piece, and I believe I cut it down to 3 3/4 by 6 inches. I'm going over it with the vintage photo, but I will tell you, I didn't like it when it came out. I put the pieces together, and I really wasn't sure. I didn't think that it looked right. Again, did not want to come together. So I'm looking at it, I'm like, yeah, that's not right. I cut a pre-existing card base. So this was 5 by 6.5, and I cut it down to 6 1/4. So I'm going back over the original piece with the vintage photo again, just to give it a little bit more darkness around the edges, because once I put all that mixed media stuff on, it just felt like it faded out. And then I was like, oh, they blend together too much. So this Scorched Timber, I believe that's what it's called, I went around the edges with this one and darkened up the edges. That's really all you're going to see in this. But I like this so much better. It made the gold really, really pop. You can see the difference here between the Scorched Timber and the vintage photo, and I just think it set it off so nicely. So I'm going to go ahead and put those together. I actually really like the Scorched Timber around the edges. I love vintage photo. If you guys crafted 15 years ago, vintage photo is everything. We put vintage photo around everything that we did, but I am still loving it. So I found this ribbon because I felt like the books weren't really sitting on anything. They were floating in the air. So I thought I would make it kind of like a shelf. So I put some ATG on the back of this grosgrain ribbon that I just happen to have a little piece of in my stash. And I'm going to attach that to the bottom. And then this is when I realized that my books are crooked, and I tried to take it off. You know what? It's fine. It's a handmade card. It's not straight. So I tried to make the ribbon even on both sides, even though that meant it was a little bit crooked. I'm going to wrap it around the edges and then do a very poor job of cutting it. These are not fabric scissors or ribbon scissors. I don't know why I continue to cut with that, but I do. So we're going to then attach all of the pieces together with some Bearly Arts glue. So attach this down to the scorched timber piece and then attach that to the front of the craft card base that I have. And that is the card for today. So you're going to have to let me know, was this mixed media enough? Is there something else that I should have done? Give me some ideas on things because mine are always vintage. Thank you guys so much for watching. If you have comments or questions, please feel free to leave them below, and I'll see you real soon for another video. Bye!